Paul Walker is a well-known actor in the automotive world, legendary for his character, Brian O'Connor. Many of his fans still mourn his death to this day. However, his vehicle collection is still on everyone's lips. Let me tell you beforehand that while we may all have different preferences, I'm sure that whatever you like, you will love most of the cars you're going to see. If I may say so, Paul had a very good taste. After his death, many of these models ended up being auctioned off. Ford GT. The Ford GT has always been a myth, and although in the last generation, they have achieved one of the most impressive supercars of all time. The 2006 wasn't bad either. Under its bodywork hides a huge V8 engine with more than 550 horsepower, in a vehicle just over 1.5 tons. Nissan 370Z. The Nissan 370Z dates from 2009 and was one of Paul Walker's cars used in the filming of the Fast and the Furious saga. It has a 337 horsepower 3.7 liter V6 and has become, with the price of about $115K, the most expensive 370Z ever sold. As can be seen in the photo, it had a very striking specific decoration. BMW M1. If there was a brand that Paul Walker liked besides Ford, that was BMW. Otherwise, who has this gem in their garage? The BMW M1 was a mythical sports car from the German firm, with very angular lines and spectacular retractable headlights. It dates from the late 70s and has an engine that generates close to 300 horsepower. Ford Mustang Boss 302S race car. Of all Paul Walker's cars, this Mustang Boss 302S seems to be the wildest of them all. It's the perfect prototype of an American sports model, with a very raw aesthetic and prepared for competition, including its 5.0 V8. Of course, it never took part in a race. It was sold for more than $100,000. Ford F-250. The Ford F-250 of the deceased American actor was a total American tradition, a large pickup in its 2003 version, and although it had under the hood a V8 engine with almost 400 horsepower, it was only sold for just $18,000. Damn, who got the deal on that? GMC Sierra. The GMC Sierra is another pickup, and it has several contradictions with respect to the previous F-250. It's only 1 year younger than the Ford since it's from 2004. It is also less powerful, as it has about 300 horsepower. However, it was sold for almost $36,000, costing twice the money, although its appearance is practically standard. Ford Mustang Shelby GT500. The Mustang Shelby GT500 from the middle of the last decade is another of Paul Walker's cars that ended up appearing in the Fast and Furious movie saga. Under its hood, it has a huge engine, a 5.8 liter V8 that delivers 650 horsepower, and a maximum torque that exceeds 800 Newton meters. Chevrolet Camaro Z28. The Camaro Z28 from the early 70s is one of the most special members of this list. Having a 5.7 liter V8 engine with more than 200 horsepower 50 years ago was an outrage. It perfectly represents the classic American sports car of the time, and its aesthetic is extremely eye-catching due to the central vinyl and its coupe-like shape. Nissan GTR Skyline R32 race car. The 1989 GTR Skyline R32 was one of Paul Walker's most spectacular cars. The Skyline became an icon in the movie saga, and one of the mythical cars of Fast and Furious. This particular unit ended up selling for more than $110,000. It had an inline 6-cylinder engine that developed 280 horsepower. Audi S4. Paul Walker's S4 is from the year 2000. It belongs to the second generation of this German sedan. It's equipped with a 2.7 V6 twin-turbo engine of about 260 horsepower and was sold at the time for about $30,000. It has a specific preparation in terms of aesthetic, although it looks quite discreet. Toyota Supra. The Supra A80, a nomenclature that corresponds to the fourth generation of this Japanese sports car, is the longing of many petrol heads. Walker kept one in his garage, and it was also one of the icons of the first movie of Fast and the Furious. It was marketed throughout most of the 1990s, with the famous and powerful 2JZ engine. Ferrari 360 Challenge Stradale. Among all of Paul Walker's cars, one that shines the most is a Ferrari 360 Challenge Stradale. This Italian supercar was on sale in the mid-2000s and stands out for its radical behavior. It has a 3.6-liter V8 engine with more than 400 horsepower. Thanks to this, it can take less than 4 seconds to go from 0 to 60 miles per hour. BMW M3 E36 Lightweight. This model was the crown jewel of Paul Walker's car collection. Surprisingly, he had up to 5 units. All of them were from 1995 and were sold for more than $240,000 USD. It weighed 102 kilograms, less than the standard M3, and had a 3-liter inline 6-cylinder engine with 240 horsepower and a 5-speed manual transmission. This was Paul Walker's collection. I think I speak for the majority when I say that I wouldn't remove a single vehicle from this collection. However, it is true that admiring his vehicles only reminds us that a wonderful person of the motor culture left this world much earlier than he should have.